Hi, Maddie, welcome to calculus.
Okay, today we're working on, starting on average rate of change, and average rate of change is not a concept that is unique or even new to calculus. This is an Algebra 1 on concept. And so you have the amount of change in y over the length of the interval, or change in x. And this notation here, this f of b minus f of a over b minus a, seems to be the one that I use in my instruction more than anything. So just something to look out for. And then next, we have this problem here. An experiment of population of bacteria, find the average rate of change from P to Q and draw on the secant line. And so based on the language here, we could consider this like A is equal to 23 and B is equal to 45, right? And then you'll have average rate of change. It's going to be equal to f of b minus f of a over b minus a. So what we have is, I'm getting f of b 340, and then f of a, I'm showing, is that 150 over b minus a, that's going to be 45 minus 23. And so we have, what is that, 190, something like that? 190 over 22. And you can simplify that to, what is that, 95 elevenths?
Yes.
And then the one thing you look for too is you try to find the units, if they're, because the rate of change, so it's going to be, and we're going to draw, it says draw on the secant line, right? So we can draw it in. What are the units of this? Number of bacteria, days.
Bacteria per day.
Yeah, what it is, it would be it's going to be, what it is, you got to look for, number of bacteria is here, but slope is what? Rate of change. So it's going to be change in bacteria per day, right? So change, actually rate of change of bacteria per day. And so in the real world, this, when you have a average rate of change, it's going to have some kind of number of bacteria, the change in bacteria per day, or the rate of change in bacteria per day. So look for an opportunity to articulate, to put some kind of units behind it. And then if you don't see any units at all, the answer is going to be just a number, okay? So just something to look for. One thing that I've talked about AP testing standards. If you're doing this problem on an AP testing standard, you do not actually have to go beyond here. You don't have to actually go from here to here to here. You can just call this blah, 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 and just tack the units onto this. Why do you think AP test standards don't require you to do this?
Because how much time it would take to just...
Yeah, time it takes. And also, when you're taking the AP calculus test, they're not testing arithmetic skills at that point, right? Now, if it happens to be on like there's a multiple choice problem where the arithmetic has to be in simplest form, yeah, but on the free response section, you would just put this down. So yeah, Carson's right about the time, and what else? There's something else. what if you go ahead and you, let's say I get this wrong here and I put down, well, it's going to be, I put down 190 over 21 instead. And I boxed it in, right? I said 121, I boxed it in. What would that do to my answer?
It would, you get it wrong.
It would make it wrong.
And
Uh-huh.
like you said, they're just gonna skip through it. If they find the right answer somewhere, they can kind of.
Yeah, most opportunity for error.
Yeah. So anyway, just a way of looking at things. I know you're not going to be taking the AP test in this class, but it could apply to other classes.
We have to take it in English, and it's making me mad.
To be honest, I'd rather take the AP calculus just than the English.
Honestly, I've taken the AP English one, but I really do.
Honestly,
All right.
I don't wanna do-
Now for the next one here,
I don't wanna do it.
this next one is a calculator one. I want you to do this with a calculator. Make sure your calculator is set in radians.
Let's hope it's not dead.
Did you hear her? She said, I'm over the talking, guys, honestly.
And literally at the beginning of the year, she said she wanted us to talk.
Yeah, literally yesterday she said that she liked that our class was talkative.
Sometimes talking is good. Yeah, camera's on.
Maddie's the only one hearing it. Maddie, you're missing out on all the fun.
No, she's not, because this is a public video.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
Well, we ain't talking crap, it's just what happened.
No,
Okay.
he's talking crap. We're
Oh,
standing by.
So just go ahead and just work on this thing here.
Wait, can we start over then? Because I thought it only Maddie saw it, and I don't want people to see my face.
Too late.
Dang it. Maybe I'll get a boyfriend for that. Hit me up at HFL.
So wait, are we supposed to just like Shanghai this into calculus?
Okay, same thing, f of b minus f of a over b minus a.
I'm sure it's in radians.
Make sure your calculator's in radians,
Well, it will-
because otherwise, what would happen if your calculator's not in radians?
Then it would give you the wrong answer.
Yeah, because you'd be in degrees and you would
Yeah.
get, and that's the thing about calculus. In last year in pre-calculus, I think I told you to keep your calculator in degrees and convert to radians when necessary. In calculus, it's all radians,
Right.
which for sake of simplicity,
Yes. Thank you. Thank
but I've had students in my videos before. It hasn't caused any trouble. The problem you have is has to do with,
Do you know how to edit?
yeah, I know how to edit.
Edit out me and edit out us talking not crap.
I'm not going to do that.
Loser. Don't edit that out.
Well, I could probably do it. I've never tried to do that. I
You know what
probably
you
could
should
do
do? You
that.
should come up with like one of those things for the opening, and it's gonna be like, stand, bam, math. What's your name again? Cool math for kids? I don't know.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Cool math for kids.
There's a guy who has a YouTube channel. It's called Yay Math, and he teaches math. It's pretty good. It's pretty exciting. I think he teaches more like at Algebra 2 level, but it's really.
Math gives you power, that's what it is.
That's gives you power. That's the.
You should, someone like punching it with like rings on their fingers, where you punch it and it leaves like
It
a
leaves
print,
an- yeah.
And it says, what was it again? Math gives you power, and then the back, math gives you power. And then you
That
should be
would-
the one singing it, and I'll be the one playing the guitar or the bass.
Oh, really?
I
Good.
think you should, I think you
Electric
should
guitar.
like.
So are you a bass player?
I'm
Hannah?
an electric guitar player.
Are you an electric guitar player?
Not a very good one, but I could be.
I want to learn how to play the harmonica.
The what?
The harmonica.
Honestly, they're so cool.
That would be
Okay.
just walking around the school,
So like,
bump into the harmonica.
So what we have is
Hawaiian kill.
Hawaiian shit. I know, but
Like this, still have the maroon, but it's like,
okay. I will show you here.
Another pretzel.
you just press the ball. There was,
Let me look here. I'm looking at the calculator.
I don't know,
2 plus 4 sine t over 3.
over two.
Over 2. Sine t over 2.
Oh, that's a fun graph.
It was like 2 meters.
So right now, I can see my calculators in radians already, right? If I go here, I'm still in radians. And so we're interested between 10 and 15, right? So what you can do is you go 15, storage X, and then you can just type in the expression here, which is 82
plus 4 sine
82 plus 4 sine,
t over 2.
and then we have x over 2.
We should have it for your books.
Is that all there is?
Yep.
So we have that, and then we have next one, 10 storage X, and then just type in the same thing.
Okay, you'll play the electric guitar and I'll be the one singing. I just feel like if we can.
So we have this, so 85.752 minus, I'm gonna just do ANS, second ANS. So about, looks like 7.58. Yeah, but I'm gonna use 7.588. Is that what you got?
That's right, look.
7.588.
I'm hungry, Mr. E.
And what are the units here?
Oh, those are all. Cars per minute.
Yeah, so change, it's the change. Cars, yeah, cars per minute, right here. They give you the units right here.
Yeah.
Why did I spell minute wrong? Oh my,
Minute.
no, I
It's also
spelled it,
pronounced minute.
I spelled it M-I-N-U-E-T-E.
Minute minute.
This is like English sucks.
A minute
Okay,
minute.
The traffic flow is modeled, the rate of change of flux. So this is gonna be cars per minute. So this is gonna be cars per minute.
Cars per minute.
Or it could be per minute squared, Right.
Actually put an extra, why is minute
Squaring
so
is
wrong?
Now, I want to talk about place value, because Hannah was really good at this thing here a minute ago. Because she talked about 7.59, is that what you got for that, Hannah? Okay. Well, the thing about it is we talk, and I'm going to be talking a lot about AP test standards. AP test standards are 3 decimal places after. So just try to do that. And they're pretty liberal. Once you get to 3 decimal places, if this is the correct answer, like if you look at this right here, they would, if you put down 7.587, that would be a correct answer, or rounded 7.588. So they give you a little leeway on that last place. So just something to watch out for. And it's AP test standard for a reason. And so when you start thinking about God, because beyond, are these digits out beyond thousandths place as important? No, they're not. So I imagine that when you go to college and engineering, they're probably going to look at something like that. That's probably how it's going to be, about 3 decimal, or it could be 2, but just something to watch out for. Okay.
Just put those on papers, just to be careful.
You could do that, but what they do for AP testing purposes, if you write out more digits than the 3, what they'll do is they'll just look at the first 3. So you can write out more than that, that won't make it wrong. Okay?
Even
Right out
if you don't
every
round
digit,
up
just
after
like
the third one?
0, 0.
Yeah, even if you don't round up after the third one.
Okay.
Yeah. So what they're doing is to me, they're being sensible about it. They're saying, if you get it that close after 3 decimal places, we're not going to quibble about rounding up after that. Okay? Which is a pretty good way to do
Because I
it.
wouldn't be surprised if I went to college and went like 5 places after this and be like, you don't think you up there, you heard that.
Yeah, you're depending on the standard, that might be it. Okay, I want you to do number 3 here in the tables.
That's true.
Yes,
Is this right under
number 3?
the?
Let's see here. Okay, what's gonna be, it's gonna be that over the years.
Oh, I was looking at the wrong.
I think so, you gotta put, so you gotta change this over a change of the years.
Population.
So that's, really upset that. And that's one thing, when you have rate of change, usually it's gonna be the time, it's gonna be in the denominator.
Connor Bush? Tell him,
Or rate.
Okay.
As a friend.
Wait, I
tell him
thought,
I love him.
I hope this one is.
Tell him he's my son.
I said just
Yeah, the
as a friend,
team.
like a
So
sad
that's gonna
face,
be-
I thought we were best friends, but
But
you
it's gonna
wouldn't.
be
What'd you think?
million
Shut up,
per
Brian.
year.
And I said,
I know.
"Oh,
So
shit."
that
I'm just
per
kidding, yeah,
year.
good friends try this one,
Okay.
I think you guys are-
Okay.
She
So
said,
we
"Okay,
can
my
decide
phone,
what
you
we're
changed
changing,
it, whatever."
yeah.
What you are, like, you said, like,
Okay.
crush with the heart, like the one with the flesh with all the hearts around it, the one that's like,
Okay,
with like jewels coming out of the mouth, and then whatever.
so you've worked, Hannah, you've worked this out?
Yeah.
Everybody has an answer on this?
I do not.
Was it 27?
I'm confused.
Carson had, you getting confused on this?
Yeah, I'm always kind of confused.
Well, what it is, here we're gonna have a lot of problems that over the year where we look at table. And what you're looking at population over time. And so when we have this little apostrophe here, you would pronounce this as F prime, if I could spell prime, F prime of 1870. That's how you would pronounce this little apostrophe, F prime. If you had a quotation mark with 2 of these here, what would you call that? F double prime. So verbally, we would call this F prime of 1870. And what you're trying to find is a rate of change, because here's the population, right? And here's the time. And AP, we're talking about AP a lot today, has different standards for this. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to look for values usually on either side of the 1870. So what resides on either side of 1870? This thing right here, right? Both of these. So to me, what you're going to do is you'll say B is equal to 1880 and A is equal to 1860. And so what you'd have is your estimate of F prime of 1870 is going to be equal to 50.2 minus 31.4 over 1880 minus 1860.
Oh, okay.
And then you would say, what would the interpretation be? What would be, how would we write this? What would the units be? Be a word that starts with C.
What was the question?
Change.
Change, change in population per year. And then the unit's going to be millions, right? Change in so this is what that's going to be, what you work it out. Now, AP standards are pretty liberal. Most of the time, you're going to look for values on either side of where they're looking for the change. But AP would take these two numbers instead, or these two numbers. A lot of times, what you're going to see a lot, they're going to give you estimate of, they could say estimate F prime of 1865. Well, if they say F prime of 1865, what would that tell you? Use these two, okay? So use the two closest, but if it ends right on there, what probably makes the most sense usually is either side. And when you actually graph it, you'll see, but, so you could just leave it like this. That would be the units there. Okay, and that's dealing with numerical analysis of tables. That's the thing we're going to be doing all year long. And so what we're doing, we've talked about average rate of change and using an average rate of change to estimate instantaneous rate of change. And so do we know exactly what the rate of change was in 1870? No, we don't. Okay, but using the data in the table, what can we do? We can estimate what it was. And so this is an estimate of F prime, or of the instant. We're using average rate of change to estimate what we're going to be introduced as instantaneous rate of change. Okay. Again, that really wasn't calculus really, but we were, and then we're going to go to instantaneous rate of change starting tomorrow, note card 8. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen.